Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Origin Spotlight. I'm back tonight with a fun new guest, a new Gamma staff member. Her name is Cynthia Tuck. Cynthia, say hello.
Hi, nice to meet everyone.
Cynthia, if you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm really excited to be part of the Gamma staff now. I've worked in the industry about 10 years with different publishers. So now it'll be mostly doing booths and things like that at the convention. So now it'll be interesting to see this side of the convention. So I've gone to the other side.
Yeah, and we're very happy to have her. And then tonight we're going to have a special guest on. His name is Bryan Stanbridge. He's the board president for Buckeye Game Festivals, and they are the managing group that helps us with our boardroom each year. I think they've been doing it since before I was even at the show, so they've been helping us out a long time. Bryan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I'm Bryan. We have been doing it for a long time. I've been part of it for over 10 years, and it was started before I was here. So it's definitely been quite a long time. We do that, and also we have our own convention that used to be in the fall, and next year's gonna be in the spring. So we're excited to get back to gaming.
Awesome. So let's just start diving into the questions. I think
Sure.
that people really, I think it will help them to know who BGF or Buckeye Game Festivals is. Can you talk a little bit about the history of your association, of your show?
Yeah, absolutely. So Buckeye Game Festivals was born about 4 years ago when the group, the Columbus Area Board Gaming Society, or CABS, realized that it was becoming harder for them to both run their club and also plan for the show that we do every year and where Origins. So they decided to split off into a second organization. So we, Buckeye Game Festivals, are a 501c4 a nonprofit organization based in Ohio. We help out Origins with running the boardroom. And then we also have our own week-long, much smaller convention that we host here in Columbus, actually at the same Hyatt Hotel where Origins often is. And we really believe in that board gaming helps bring people together. It can help solve a lot of problems. It can really bring people into a host of positive things through cooperation and also positive competition. So we've been happy to do that, and we are lucky to be partnering with CABS, which is a great organization. They have weekly meetings, just started in-face weekly meetings again after over a year, so very excited about that. And we are able to rent their library to bring thousands of games to both of those conventions.
Thank you very much for that. I know we're happy to have you each year, and I know that your selection is pretty amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how the boardroom works?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we bring the CABS library, which I believe right now has just about 1,000 different titles in it, over 1,000 actual games, but there are some duplicates of some of the more popular titles. And what will happen with Origins is that the boardroom is an optional add-on. So just going to Origins is not enough. There is a boardroom ribbon. And if you have that ribbon, then it gives you access to both our play space, but more importantly, the library. And what is happening when you want to check out a game from the library, you just need a government issued ID of some sort. We hold on to the ID, you get to play with the game. When you're done, you bring the game back, we give you your ID back. So it's a very easy, I think, to use system, and you get to have a lot of fun with your friends and meet new friends along the way as well. The library this year is going to be a little bit different if you've been before. The titles are the same, the games are still great, but up until this year, you've had to come up to a desk, and it's kind of like a very old school library. We would go get the game for you. Well, we're finally coming into the 21st century, and we're honest, from libraries, the 16th century, where you can then browse the library itself yourself. So we're going to try that for the first year and see how it goes.
Okay, that sounds really awesome and interesting. Oh, Cynthia, do you have something to say?
And don't you have like little cones or signs of some sort if somebody's looking for a player for a game?
Yeah,
they can have other people jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point too. They'd started the cone system, the first BGF 20 some odd years ago, where we actually have traffic cones, there's flashing lights on them this year. So there are traffic cones available. I don't think all of them have the light, where you could put up if you're willing to teach people new games, if you're looking for new people to join in a game. So maybe it's you and one other friend, but you really want to play Twilight Imperium. Well, it's not going to play with 2 players, so you need to get a bunch more people in so you can put up your cone. So if you do come to the boardroom and you see those cones around, those are a great place to start, because they're looking specifically to meet new people and to have fun with new friends. So it's a great way to kind of break the ice if you're a little nervous about coming in.
Do you also have a sign for, like, if you're looking for a teacher for the game that I know some libraries have, they're looking for a teacher as well. Do you have one of those as well?
We actually kind of use the cones for both, but that's a good thing to think about, is maybe adding some sort of optional topper to the cone that would differentiate between the two. I like that. So we will write it down and make a note.
I love the new ideas. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
We'll just keep making it better and better and better each year.
Yeah.
Although the flashing red light district is going to be an interesting thing in the boardroom.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those we're going to let go out, but
they probably won't be red. It'll definitely be bright white. You can't miss it, right? So you kind of touched on this a little bit, that ribbons are going to be the way that you participate in the boardroom. But just to let everyone know, those ribbons will be on sale with events when they go live on September 11th. Later this year. So if you're looking at getting one of those ribbons, we do have a limited quantity of them this year. That'll kind of depend on the space that we have set up and what we can expand into. We're working on that currently for the layout. But yeah, so if you want one of those ribbons, make sure you're back with us on September 11th on your account, and make sure that you go back through the reg system and click on those and add them to your cart. I believe this year they are going to be $25 for the full show. So you'll be able to use that Thursday through Sunday and have access to that entire library. So really quick, I know that we talked about before, you have a lot of games obviously in your library, but how do you differentiate between, or how do you manage the library when it comes to making sure that the really, let's call them the really hot games, the ones that you're checking out a lot, how do you make sure that people have continued access to those?
Sure. So during the course of the convention, unlike some other libraries, we don't actually limit time. So when you check it out, you can keep that as long as you need to. We do tend to walk around and try and look at some different my brain is not functioning at the moment. We try and monitor to make sure that people aren't just sitting on the popular games. So if we see that you've checked out one of the popular games from us, you haven't played it for a while, then we'll go from there and kind of do that. The other thing is that when we get new products at the fair itself, it will be differentiated in a separate area. It does not actually get integrated into the main library immediately. So that way people can see, hey, this is all the new stuff, whether it was released at Origins or maybe it's just new to our library. It will be in a separate display area. We're still finalizing on where that will be in the room this year, but there will be some sort of display like that where you can see all the hot stuff. We're also looking on some new technological solutions that we're not 100% on how they're going to work yet. So I don't want to say full details and have it change and be wrong. But one of those things that we are trying to get is that there'll be a lookup for hot games and where they are, how long they've been played, and things like that. Awesome.
That'll be super helpful for people who are looking for something new that they haven't tried, but know that it's a popular game, right? Okie dokie. So, I know you talked a little bit about how people check out games. Is there anything that so if I were someone walking up to the boardroom and I wanted to check out one of your games, is it possible for me to check that out? Like when, sorry, I'm a little bit frazzled at the moment. Is it possible for me to check out a game and just kind of like walk away with it? What do you guys do in order to make sure that the games come back to you? What do I need to bring with me?
Right, so you'll need some sort of photo identification card. We say a government ID if you have a school ID that has your name and a phone, or not a phone, a picture, that will work fine for us. The big impetus is generally you don't want to leave without your ID. And so that's been enough. We've been doing this, as I said, for a very long time. and knock on glass because I don't have any wood in my office, that they will continue to keep coming back time after time. Because we do allow overnight checkout. So our library will close at the end of every day and reopen the next morning. But if you keep a game overnight, we'll keep your ID overnight. So if you want to go out to the bar or something, if you're legal age, you're not going to be able to do that because we have your ID. So you'll have to give the game
I've
back.
had friends get stuck with that, and I do think threatening them with the DMV is a good threat. That you have to go to replace it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Make sure you bring the games back, otherwise you won't be able to go out and have a good time. I had another question about the boardroom, just to keep this rolling, obviously. But so within the boardroom, you mentioned your hours. What are your hours? When do you usually staff the library?
So the library, typically on the main days of the show, so not the first and last day, are going to be 9 a.m. to midnight, although we start asking for returns before midnight. So basically we like to be closed and we're walking out at midnight because we depend on volunteers to run the room, which I should also mention that the call for volunteers is still open. If you would like to volunteer, you can go to buckeyegamefest.com and go to the volunteers page. We do have volunteers at a separate sign-up process from the Origins volunteers because we are separate organizations. So if you want to do that, you do get a full week badge and the boardroom ribbon involved as well for X amount of time that embarrassingly I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is a certain amount of time that's comparable. So we will run typically 9 to midnight on those days. The first day, we tend to open around noon, as close as we can. A lot of it depends on how quickly we can load in and get everything set up, of course, but we shoot for generally noon on that first day, which this year would be the Thursday, if I recall. And then on Sunday, we close everything down by 3. Because it takes us about 3 hours to unload and set up, and also then to load back and take down the library. So that way our volunteers on Sunday aren't here until 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We shut down at 3 so we can get everything back.
Yeah, got to ship it back home, right?
Yeah.
Did you say how many games were in your library this year?
There's about 1,000.
That's very nice. Yes.
Okay. So Bryan, was, as someone, so I'm going to pretend for a moment that I've never been to Origins. It's hard to do, but as someone who has never been to the boardroom in this case, what should I go in there looking for? Do I need to bring, do I have to have a group with me? I know you mentioned people using the cone system, but are people okay to just like kind of mingle around and see if they can find games, or?
Yeah, absolutely. We pride ourselves with BGF of being one of the friendliest groups in board gaming. That's what we always try and do, is to create that sort of atmosphere. So if you're a first-time person to the boardroom at Origins, definitely come in expecting an open time. Of course, like any other group of people, there are cliques and they'll be off doing their own thing. But if you want to come in and meet new people and join, you can do that even without the cones. Some people may not know about the cones, so they don't think to set it up. Some people just don't want to have those on the table, and they're still looking for those types of things. We'll have people wanting to try new games, people wanting to try really old games. A couple of years ago, we had some board games from the 80s that were hitting the table because people just really wanted to play it. So if you have a boardroom ribbon, you do not have to check out one of our games to be playing in our area. So people will bring some of their own games. You could certainly feel free to do that. The library is there for your use, but you know, with the cone system alone sometimes brings people in because that's an easy way to find new people wanting to play things. So if you're new, I would say start with the cones. If you don't have something, you're dead set, I want to play XYZ, I'm willing to play anything, I want to meet new people, look for the cones. If you are interested in a specific game and you think that it might be in the library, and you can actually check the library ahead of time. If you go to cabsgamers.org, they have a link to their library. It's updated frequently, but it's not live. So during the show, it won't be instantly updated with all the new stuff, but you can kind of get a feel for what's in it before we go. And if you see something there, head straight to the library and check it out. Our library is organized by size. So we will have lookup terminals, and the people that are volunteering in the library can help you look up things too if you have a game that you specifically want rather than just browsing the selection. we can help find it. Every cabinet has its own color and symbols. So we have like the brown lock, we have the blue meeple cabinet and things like that. So it's basically, we fit 1,000 games into 9 or 10 cabinets. So it's a very good Jenga. The Cabs librarian is excellent at keeping the order of that library. So I would say do those things. And if you really have questions, come up and ask any of the volunteers, because none of our volunteers are first time Origins goers or BGF goers. They know the drill. Normally we can talk them into volunteering for us after just a couple of years, but they definitely know what they're doing, and they're happy to help, because we're not going to have the volunteers be people that don't want to be there, right? So those are definitely things. And if you see me and I'm not rapidly going from A to B because I'm trying to put out some fire, much like with Paul, I'm sure just stop me and ask me questions. I'm happy to help.
And that raises a good point. If someone needs to find one of the volunteers in the space, how can they identify them?
So this is awkward. Are we're doing t-shirts again?
We are, yeah.
Okay,
yep.
great. So we have t-shirts that are going to be volunteers will have t-shirts. The board members of BGF will have a BGF polo on. So if you see anyone with a BGF polo, we can all help with that. We wear them. Most of us wear them all the week. We try and get a little Febreze when we need to, but we're good to go with those. And then being a shorter week, it'll help a little bit this year. But so if you see any of those, you could do that. And then there'll be volunteer t-shirts. Anyone in the boardroom will have that t-shirt, typically with our sponsor and Origins and all that on it.
Yeah, standardly the on one of their shoulders, one of their arms, it'll have the BGF logo, it'll have the Origins logo on it. So they should be pretty easy to pluck out of the crowd. And as always, if ever you need help and you can't find someone in your area, you can feel free to stop over at the GMHQs that we have in the hall. Our volunteers will be happy to help you out. So speaking of volunteers, I know that you also have volunteers open, and thank you for sharing how people can participate with you. Cynthia, I believe that you mentioned that we also have some volunteer opportunities that you want to talk about today.
We do have volunteer opportunities. And to find those volunteer opportunities, you can head on over to the website. And I believe somebody's going to be putting up some graphics here of where to find them on the website. Unfortunately, I can't see what's happening, so with me. So it's a drop-down menu on the website. You just go there, you click it, and you'll get this really nice list of jobs that you might want to come and volunteer for. If it sounds interesting, click on it, and you will get a really nice job description. It also tells you how physical this job is. You want to do security where you're moving around, or maybe move some materials, or do you want to sit in your chair and just register people? It will give you how physical this job is, whether you want to handle it. Then if you continue to scroll down the page, it'll show you what shifts are available. So you can say, oh yeah, that time span looks fantastic, and just click and register. And if you're wondering what perks we have, back on the main page, you'll get the whole breakdown of the chart of what perks we have. For 4 hours, you'll get a 1-day badge. For 8 hours, you get a 2-day badge. For 16 hours, you get a full show. And starting at the 8 hours, you start getting a little bit of food vouchers. So $5 for 8, 10 for 16. So we try and feed you a little bit there too. For 24, you get all sorts of perks. You get a full show badge. You get 3 shirts. So you get at least 1 shirt. Then depending on how many shifts you're working, because we like you to be fresh.
We can Febreze it up like Bryan.
Yeah, we like you to be fresh. Help everybody you're working with and around. But so there's a lot of perks for 24 hours. And at 32 hours, you get the most perks. And there's some different things you can choose from, including hotel rooms, or another badge for somebody else if you want to work for their badge. But there's a lot of different perks for you to choose from. And at 32, you might considering being a lead, where you would then head up your space for the time you're volunteering. We will also take first-time volunteers, maybe not for lead positions, but we will definitely take them for anything. You want to learn to register, we will teach you how to register people. So if you're a first-time volunteer and you want to give it a shot, come and help us friendly. We like you. And we're willing to teach you the job that you might want to try.
And so will BGF.
They won't take first timers. They said they have to be.
No, we'll take some first timers.
Open everybody, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
But so yeah,
no
if
problem
it's your
learning
first
the ropes.
time at Origins and you want to try volunteering, hit us up. We got a spot for you. Cynthia.tuck@gamma.org if you want more information, if you have any questions. I'm more than willing to answer pretty much anything you can, throw at me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking about that, talking about the volunteers opportunities at Origins. Bryan, do you want to do some closing for us and maybe talk about BGF when it's going to be happening next year potentially?
Sure, absolutely. So we are very excited, of course, to work with Origins and run the boardroom. We started out with the BGF. This will be the 21st BGF, if I have my numbers correct. It's weird because the break threw all my counting off, and apparently I need consecutive years or I get into trouble. But it's the 20th or 21st BGF, and typically we're in the fall. It would have been the exact week of Gen Con this year, so I'm actually kind of glad that we made the COVID call a little earlier than not, because it would have been very awkward anyway. We're going to take the opportunity with this to move to the spring. We've been talking about it before. BGF tends to be the last convention of the board gaming year if you don't want to travel to Germany, because Essen is always the last one in October. But aside from that, we're one of the last ones, and we've decided that we'd like to see what it looks like to be one of the first ones. So we're moving to the spring in 2022, and also 2023. Beyond that, we'll see how things work. But we will be in April of 2022, and I'm scrolling to the dates to make sure I don't screw this up. The BGF 2022 is April 7th through the 10th. And that, as mentioned, will be at the Hyatt Regency downtown. The information is already on our website, buckeyegamefest.com. You can check it out right now. We also have something that's called the War Room at BGF, which is a little bit longer. It starts on Monday, the 4th. And what that is people from actually all over the world will come in and play long form war games. So if you've ever walked by some of the open gaming at Origins and seen the tiny little cardboard and people with tweezers, that's one type of war game that will be played fairly frequently. Actually, there's a group that comes in from England, and they will set up a game on Monday morning, and it will run through Saturday, and sometimes it's done. So not all the time. And so it's one of those giant form games. It is a little extra fee because we do have those 4 extra days for just them, but they love it. They come in and play, like I said, from all over England, California, Florida. People are coming in from long distances to play these games. And it gets crazy enough that when our show starts on the 7th, they'll be playing a turn, and then their other person's turn is like an hour. So they will go and play another miniature war game while they're waiting for that other turn to go. These guys are crazy. I love it.
That's awesome. Whoa.
I will admit, I cannot follow it all the time of what they're doing, but they're having a great time with it. And we take the entirety of the downstairs of the Hyatt. So there's, I think, 24,000 square feet we have in April for a mix of open gaming. There are also registered events that you play through. Most events are free. We do have special guests that we're working on right now. I can't announce anything, unfortunately, yet, but we are working on finalizing that. And when we do, the special guest events do cost, but that gets donated to Extra Life. So we work with Extra Life on our show to donate portions of the raffle, to donate portions of those fees that are collected for the special guest events and things like that, as well as taking direct donations if anyone likes doing that. We do have a member of CABS who comes to BGF every year and does a 24-hour marathon for Extra Life. So that's kind of how we got started with Extra Life, as he brought it to our attention. And it's a great group. So we are supporting them pretty extensively. So they'll be in April, the 4th through the 10th. If you're in the War Room, if you want to wait for some other types of games, it starts on the 7th. And we're always looking for volunteers for those too. We take first-time volunteers. And that convention, usually it's about 500 people. So if you've ever thought, oh man, Origins is a lot of people, it's very intimidating, this one's a little less, and then we'll get you into Origins. If you just give us a shot. We're not the gateway drug, because I won't say that. We kind of are. So if you just come hang out with us, and then come to the boardroom. But if you come to the boardroom, you'll know it's the same library. So if you come to the Origins boardroom, it's gonna be that same kind of thing. And you can check out buckeyegamefest.com for more details.
Awesome.
I am also in Ohio, and I've heard wonderful things about Buckeye Game Fest for years. I just haven't made it down. So
maybe this is
all
the first
the rumors
year.
are true. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows who goes to Buckeye Game Fest, he was talking about some of the prizes that you can win there. Every year, we also give free badges to Origins as part of that prize pool. So maybe you can win some fun free badges to come and enjoy our show the next year. So, but yeah. So Bryan,
yeah.
We had a question come in. We were wondering, when will volunteer signups for BGF be going up?
Let me look through here. It is not yet on our website, and I don't think we've talked about it. What I could tell you is generally, a call for volunteers will go up 2 to 3 months before the actual show. So in this case, we're probably looking at just after the new year. But if you stick around to buckeyegamefest.com/volunteers, that'll be the spot. Or we also do have a Facebook group for Buckeye Game Fest that you can see as well. There's an event and a separate like fan page that you can check out.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that info. I'm sure that somebody's going to take part in that and jump in and enjoy the fun there with you.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. That just about wraps up our time.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
So I have a. So I believe that's a question. I believe we just got a question for Origins coming in about volunteer shifts. Just to let everybody know, whatever you sign up for, as Cynthia was saying, there's a lot of different options that you can see on that page. When you choose to sign up for one of those, you're setting up your own shift and you're setting up your own job, basically your own description. So as soon as you do that, you'll be able to know that that's going to be my shift. That's exactly what I need to be. That's exactly what I'm doing.
With the boardroom, it's not like that. So we have an interest form that you fill out, and then we should have those shifts. Generally, those are about a month out, but sometimes sooner. It all depends. Basically, the sooner we can get people signed up, the sooner we can get everything assigned and know on that type. So for us, it's a little more flexible, but we also have far fewer volunteers in Origins, so we can afford to be a little more flexible like that.
And the Origins volunteers will be getting their badge information coming up. So if you've signed up for a shift, assume you have that shift. We will contact you if there's any problems, and we'll be getting your badge information soon. Don't buy your badge without your code.
Same. Don't buy your badge if you are a BGF volunteer either for Origins, because we will take care of that for you.
Yes, and if you're worried and you want to just get some confirmation, feel free always to email Cynthia or myself. We can definitely help you out. Awesome. I think that's all our time for the show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Bryan.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing you at the show. I'm sure you'll be running around just like me, but
looking forward
we'll
to
see
it.
each other in passing. But yeah,
Okay.
Now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Dawn Studebaker and the Fort Waynians. They're going to come and talk to you a little bit more about Origins, but have a wonderful night and thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our little section. The Fort Waynians are here with me. There's a whole bunch of us that go to Origins every year as a group. So if you have questions, we'll try to take some questions later, but I want to introduce everybody. I'm trying to look on Twitch where we all are. Up at the top with me, it looks like it's Josh and Susan, who have now, we'll still call them Fort Waynians, but they left us. They went to Dallas. We're going to be okay with it a little bit. But they got to go to their first Origins in 2019, which was our last live one, obviously. And then from there, we have Preston and Ellen.
Hi, everyone.
And then we have Chad in the middle and Alex down there as well. Alex does a lot of stuff with Star Realms. He is a Wise Wizard fan and loves Star Realms and hangs out with all of them down there. And I'll tell you a little bit about all of us real quick, but as a group, we all met at my store. Some of you may know me from working with Gamma for years past, and I love Origins. Oh, and this is my husband, Scott, too. I didn't even introduce my husband.
Okay.
He's here, the sidekick. You do a lot of work at Origins, though, just because of me. It's my fault. As a matter of fact, our 20th anniversary was at Origins, and I had just gotten elected to the board, and I was like, I might have stepped in it. Our 20th anniversary is then. And Scott said, and I quote, "That's okay, honey, we would have been there anyway." Good man, right? That's a good man.
No better way to celebrate than Origin.
No better way. We did actually like Origins. But Josh and Susan went for the first time. Chad is definitely been coming because of me. It's my fault. Alex came on his own accord, and Preston and Ellen went on their own accord because they are great, like just dove into board gaming head first. So I want to start with Preston and Ellen and have you guys talk about how you guys started going to Origins and why, because I think it's fun and it's interesting. And for the viewers, pardon us because we're going to be Fort Waynians. It's just going to happen. We're all friends. We all travel and gather down there. So what brought you guys to Origins?
Yeah, I think when we were first getting into board gaming, Origins was a good opportunity to get to understand what was out there more, demo and try new games, things that we may not have been exposed to here. So that was a good opportunity to really dive in, like you said, head first into board gaming.
And I think I remember, if I remember correctly, I think I said at one point, Ellen was not really as sure about going, and Preston was super, super excited. And I said, you should try Origins first because of all the shows that I go to.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's super attainable, and it makes. I always say it's like that warm blanket, right? Like you can go to all these shows and they're all exciting and they're whatever, but Origins is like, it's like home. It just feels so good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very accessible. It's very easy to get into different booths and, like I said, demo different games, try new things, talk to the booth attendants, where other conventions it could be difficult to walk around or even see the booths at times. So it's really nice to be hands-on.
Yeah. But yet it's big enough, right? Like
yes.
it still feels so exciting.
Yeah, there's plenty to do, plenty to see and to explore, but you actually get an opportunity to do it.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into Josh and Susan, because that was their first, I think, was that your first show experience ever?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
And Josh is, for those that aren't Fort Waynians and don't know, Josh is a huge RPG player. Like this man lives, breathes everything. He's just like an encyclopedia of all the different RPGs, and huge Deadlands fan, huge, Savage Worlds fan. And the look on your face down there was pure magic when you got to see Clint and Jody Black, and you got to see all the different people and the excitement. What was it about Origins that made you so excited? Everything.
Yeah, it's hard to put a finger on one thing. It's being that it was the first show that I'd ever been to. It was a lot more than I could take in one time, but it was very accessible. It was. I did like that you had the access to communicate, to talk to the actual creators and the creatives that were behind the games that I do enjoy and love so much. And that to me was a really unique and interesting opportunity.
You were a complete fanboy.
I
He
was.
was a complete 12-year-old fanboy.
And that's okay.
Who was it? Jolly.
It was Jolly Blackburn, the guy that created
The world was like
Knights of the Dinner
he was
Table.
done. Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that moment. That was funny.
And I've never been that kind of fan. I could, if I met Brad Pitt, it wouldn't impress me half so much. But
that's hilarious. That's true too, actually. That's very true.
So Johnny, if you're watching, hi.
Stalker-ish.
It was sort of adorable too, because Scott was so excited to take you around and show you everything, because it does sort of feel like home for you.
Yeah, and I think the restraining order expires this year.
Yes.
Go see him again.
Everyone can't have a Scott. Scott is a wonderful
He was a great
tour
guide.
He really did. He took us under his wing and just said, let's go, and just went all through it. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I may have just stood in the entryway and blocked everybody else from getting in.
You know, one of the interesting things about Origins and us as Fort Waynians is that we could see each other every night. We could see each other all the time, and you would literally think that we would want to go down to Origins and just experience new things and whatever. And we always find each other. We always hang out.
Yep.
We always gather. It's like this exciting, fun thing. And we're all like, did you go to Jenny's? Did you go to this? Did you do that? And it's just such an incredible experience. We don't get to see Alex as much. So I'm going to take it over to Alex, because he gets to, I remember seeing you in the hallway when we were going in. Preston and Ellen, you guys went to they like going to the Origins Awards. Which,
Oh yeah.
yeah, which are like this big, huge thing. And Alex is like running by with Tim, and Alex and I are so excited to see each other, and we're hugging. And Tim's like, we gotta go, I'm hungry. They've just been playing all day. So Alex, your experience is different because you guys game and do tournaments all day. So tell us what that side of it's like.
That is, it's a lot of fun. I play in a lot of tournaments. I love playing Star Realms. You said I'm a big Wise Wizard games fan, and they were, I think, a show sponsor a couple years ago too. So they hold some really big tournaments, so it attracts that community, which I'm a part of. So I get to see, while I get to see Fort Waynians, I also get to see a lot of my friends from all across the country, some even international, come, and I get to play with them face to face, which is a really fun experience. So a lot of it is trying to get as many games in, whether it's in a tournament or whether it's demoing new stuff or trying stuff. It's just tons of gaming, and yeah, if you're not careful, you lose track of time, and then you have to run out of the building to try and find a restaurant that's still open that will take all your friends, all your really cranky, hangry friends.
He wasn't that angry. He was a little angry.
He was a little angry.
He's not here to defend himself because he was supposed to be on the show.
That, I will give him credit though. Earlier in the day, I was in the middle of a tournament for Keyforge that day, and I couldn't leave, and he went and got me a hamburger and brought it back to me because I couldn't leave. I didn't have enough space. So, but at the same time, he was ready to eat and it was time to go. But
hey,
yeah, it's
blame a man that needs to eat. I mean, come on. That was some Hoosier hospitality though over there in the Buckeye State, getting you a sandwich. That was nice.
Exactly. It's all about, those friends and those connections, and there's just a lot of really just great people at the show. Even the people that go, it's super nice, super friendly. If you ever want to try a game, find a game. I know they were talking about that in the first segment. It's really easy to meet people and hop into a game, or if you need somebody for a game, finding someone to hop in.
Oh, absolutely. So Chad, before we go to our B-roll, I'm gonna throw it over to Chad. Chad got wrapped in because I, as a game store owner, I often would have publishers asking me to find volunteers for their booth. And Chad is a teacher, so he thought, I just outed you, Chad. He thought it would be a great opportunity for him to be able to come and, experience the show and help out. And you got to see it kind of from, behind the lines, but still, you still get that experience. What's Origins like for you?
It's great. Yeah, you do get that experience because, one of the neatest things for me was you're inside. I would be demoing games, and they make the announcement they're opening the doors, and, the doors come in and you've got a lot of excited people. And you kind of talked about the general vibe of Origin, and it's great because you go some other places and it's manic. It's very, And it wasn't. The doors open at Origins and people come in and there's just a general good feeling. People are excited, but it's not like they have to get across the hall to do the, you know, they're just coming in and they're getting ready to experience it. So that made it a lot of fun. So yeah, seeing that as well, and, you know, getting to talk to people as other booths are getting set up and see how people do things. It's a neat experience. But yeah, and then you get to spend your all day interacting with people and showing them games, and it's just a really good environment.
Yeah, you got to experience what I got to experience every day, and it is cool. You know, when the world is like that, it is definitely cool. Adam, our producer, has some video to show of all of the Fort Waynians experiencing Origins. So he's going to run that now, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Oh, we get to chat over it. Okay, well, we'll chat over it. I'll even see if I can see what's going on with it. So, but it's kind of basically showing us what we do as a group. Dave and Jeanette are in it a lot, as you guys mentioned. They're not here today. Their doggy was a little bit under the weather. So you'll see my son, Alex. You'll see all of us at Jenny's and doing things and gathering. But it's such a great time for all of us to just kind of, there's Scott as the tour guide. See, you're a good tour guide, honey.
He is. I told you he's a great tour guide.
But yeah, we get to do a lot of fun things. Going over to the market is some of the high points that we talk about. Dave and Jeanette are the star of this program.
Yeah, apparently.
This is what I get for playing tournaments all the time.
That's right. That's right. I threw in some of the Gamma team, and I threw in some video from our meeting area for the board of directors, and looking over that. I wanted people to really see what the hall looks like and how amazing it is, and just that vibe of what I'm talking about, that like warm blanket. Even working the booth as much as I did, or working the show as much as I do, I still get opportunities to, you know, enjoy the show and enjoy the moments that are all of Origins.
And I don't know if any picture, no matter how great, could capture the feeling. I think that's the only thing that's missing, is what it's actually like to experience firsthand.
Yeah.
All the energy, all the people, the controlled chaos that is, you know, so many people trying to get in, and they're all there for one thing, because everybody there loves games.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the cool thing, I think, is that it does have that like really hometown vibe. And Columbus, you guys, right? Like, we're Fort Waynians, we're pretty proud of our town, and we love traveling, but we really enjoy going to Columbus. I mean, it is just, they host us well, they do a great job, and everybody feels comfortable. And I was really shocked. Chad got Alex, my son Alex, to like try all these different foods over at the market. And I was like, who is this kid? Chad, what'd you guys try over there? Because some people have never been to the market. It's okay to talk about Origins and the market, because the High Street Market's amazing.
Yeah, High Street Market, it is. And that's the thing, you know, we talked about the vibe of the show. The vibe extends through Columbus as well. I mean, you know, it is, when you leave the convention center, it's still got that feeling to it. But yeah, the High Street Market, it's a lot of fun, a lot of different culture, food in there. I think we had Malaysian, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, if you want something different, but that's the other great thing. I mean, you know, if you don't go to the market, there's lots of other places nearby. Everything's within walking distance. It just is, it's really nice. And it is, once you're done at the hall, you're gonna go and enjoy Columbus, and you know, it's got that college town feel, and it's really nice.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Origins?
That's rough, because I wear a lot of hats at Origins. So
Yeah.
I help out with booths, I help demo games. I mean, you know, that's always exciting, you know, just like the store was, you know, watching, especially kids come up to try out or working out, and seeing them light up, and that's really cool. So
you helped with Greg with Dust one time,
yeah,
right?
Dust 1947 I demoed on. So it's you know, it's a great show. There's lots of exhibitors there, but you can still walk around and you can still do things. And that's just a great thing to be able to go have that tactile, actually touch something new or get something that's demoed to you first.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of our other favorite things, Chad, is that Chad often rides down with me when we would have to get there early, and we would always eat at Max and Irma's. And everybody's like, you guys could eat anywhere, and you chose Max and Irma's. They just welcome us, and they have some good things that we like, and it's kind of our tradition. And so the Fort Waynians will not be shamed by going to Max and Irma's. We are okay with it.
Pretty soon they're going to know us by name.
What?
They're going to know us by name pretty soon.
Yeah, no, they're gonna know us by, is Pepsi okay? And we just about now. Or Pepsi. Pepsi's okay. Pepsi's okay. Yeah, exactly. Preston and Ellen, you guys come in for the weekend. So you guys come in like usually at like the busiest time, and Pride was always going on, which was amazing. The parade, like it's just an incredible vibe down there. Do you guys have favorites outside of the show that you like as well? Because I mean, people coming to Origins need to experience all of Origins, not just, you know, not just the show. We know they're going to enjoy the show, but what are some of the things you guys like?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you'll hit on them with the food, you know, at the market for sure.
You guys are diehards though. You guys are usually going top.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty on a strict schedule, especially, you know, coming in for the weekend. You know, so we're condensing it into just a couple of days, and then like you mentioned, the Origin Awards. That's something we always make sure that we make time to do every time we go down there.
Mm-hmm. Alex, you guys have some favorite places you eat at, don't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, at the market, there's the hot chicken takeover, which is amazing. There's the Greek place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
on the top.
Yeah.
There's the Greek place that has the best pierogies like ever.
You got me hooked on pierogies.
Oh yeah. Then there's other places around Columbus. There's a like a German sausage house that does like all you can eat, like bratwurst and stuff, which is so terribly
I've been there.
Oh yeah, and they have these giant like cream puffs, like the size of your head.
They had me a cream puff.
Yeah. But I mean, there's others. There's just right near the convention center, there's this barcade, which is just like an arcade bar that is really fun to hang out with and have a few drinks and play arcade games. Or there's like an escape room that we did also, which was just right within walking distance. So there's lots of other stuff going on that you can hit and do. And yeah, the food is amazing. You have to keep walking around just to work off all the delicious food.
Yeah. Now, Chad, I would be amiss if I didn't mention this. And so my Gamma retail board that I was on the board with would be very angry with me too if I didn't talk about it, because Cosi is so amazing. And when they had the Muppet, like everybody was going nuts about going, just really like enjoying downtown is so much fun. You and Alex would go explore.
Yeah, because, you know, like you said, we get down there early and I wasn't ready to work yet. So Alex and I would have some time. And where I was staying was literally, you know, kind of across the bridge goes across over to Cosi, which is the Columbus Science Institute. And yeah, they had a Muppets. It was awesome. It was a Muppets exhibit, and, you know, original Muppets and scripts and pictures. And so, yeah, we had a good time down there. But yeah, it just seems like, you know, if you have a moment, if you get there early for the show and you have some time, there's lots of stuff to do in town. You know, it's a good city to be in, even if you're not at the convention yet. So if you have to arrive in early or you're leaving late, you took a flight in and it doesn't leave till the next day, you've got some things you can do in the meantime, and there's lots of options.
That's definitely one thing we figured out, which was, even though it was our first time at Origins, it won't be the last, because there's no way that you can get through everything, even if you're there for the entire show, for the entire game fair. You can't get through everything that there is to do.
Yeah. So this year I think is going to be exciting because they're doing a lot that they're also going to stream because of consciousness of knowing that some people may not be as comfortable. So Preston and Ellen, the Origins Awards are going to be streamed live. I think so. Maybe people will see you guys in the audience.
Yeah.
You'll be famous.
Yep.
They're doing Twitch live streaming with the Smithies and also some cosplay costumes. They're going to try to bring cosplay out a lot more too. One of the things I really loved about Origins is how many like diverse things they touch on, making sure everybody's taken care of, right? Like they did, there was some time with having quiet rooms, like they worked with some autistic not fundraisers. What am I trying to say? Words are hard. Charities, thank you. Words are hard today. And did just some amazing things. They're always reaching out and trying to help the community. We did Pride. We did one of the youth areas giving back. Origins is just such a great give back moment, but they also do that to the attendees. So it's interesting. Preston and Ellen love going to those going to Origins Awards. But even at the Origins Awards, they give games to the they gave games to the attendees. I don't know if they're planning on doing that this year. Everything's always different when we're coming out of COVID, but it makes me realize how much the attendees are at the forethought of everything that Origins does. And I think that that's what got me really excited to do it from the beginning. Susan, you're not like, I mean, you're a gamer now, but you're a gamer by marriage, right? Like it was forced upon you and now you love it. But look at Josh, he's like, Susan's very first RPG game was my fault. I take credit, I'll take blame, I'll take credit and blame. And now she loves it and they do it with their family, like, and have like a really good time. But as someone who is apprehensive to go, Ellen could probably talk about this too, because she's now knee deep in the game world. What was it about Origins that felt so comfortable as somebody who wasn't as, let's just say, overzealous as your husband, shall we say?
That's fair.
Well, what I loved about it is I was nervous to go because although we have a ton of board games, you know, I was more still like the mainstream board games. I wasn't into the more, you know, diverse ones or
Pretty much anything that you can't buy in Walmart.
Yeah. And but when I went, it was actually really funny because I was nervous to go and Dom's like, no, you're going to go. You're going to love it. Just trust me, you'll love it. So then I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. So I go, and what's hilarious is I think I ended up buying.
Well, you usually
literally.
She usually buys more of the games. Don't. No.
I do. I'm a sucker for them now. I buy all of them. But I loved that, you know, you get to see things before they go on sale. Like you get the chance to touch a game, play a game, and buy it before it hits a store. And I love that. Some of my favorite games that we still play to this day, I bought there.
Origins, yep.
I bought at Origins. And I love that factor of it. I was like, oh, we're in before it's in. You know?
And it's not even just board games. Like Josh's look on his face, remember when he saw all the LARP stuff? Oh my gosh, Josh was like, look, they were like kids literally in the convention hall. Scott, Garrick, their son Garrick, Josh, and Susan and I were just like, no, we loved it. But
It is a lot. It is so much to do, so much to take in and to experience. And if you're out there and you haven't gone,
but I think
highly recommend.
Well, what's great about it though is that if you're like me, who's kind of into board games, but you don't really walk into a board game store that often, you go to like, you know, more of the box stores, it really opens your eyes and you instantly fall in love with it. But also for my husband, who's like diehard, like the obscure things that you've never heard of, like he goes and he's also in love. So it's for both worlds. It really is.
Yeah. And I've even said like, so Preston and Ellen, their whole family now games, like it's like a family event, like their mom and dad and everybody games. And I even think to myself sometimes like, you know, Julie, your mom should go like this. Even your mom would like love that. And that's saying a lot because, you know, she's probably a little more like you where she was reserved. So Ellen, I would love to hear how you are how it was for you, because you are definitely, of everybody on this Fort Wayne group, you are the introvert of all of us for sure.
Yes, I am. But it's such a welcoming environment when you walk in. It really is. You can sit down and demo games and nobody ever makes you feel like you're, wrong for asking questions. They're all super welcoming and positive and just happy to share games with you, which is really, a nice feeling, being introverted and, a little nervous about people and other people and, all of that. So it's always a really positive experience there.
That's high praise, because how long did it take us to get you to Friday night game nights?
Right,
now,
that's true.
Once we got her, she didn't stop. However, it is that not knowing. And I keep saying to people, like, if you're unsure or you think your spouse wouldn't be excited, go to Origins. This is what you do. Alex, what are some of the big, what are the big key points that, okay, I'm outing you for a minute. His family literally knows the Origins schedule. His sister said, and I quote, "I already checked, Origins isn't that weekend, I can get married." She said this. These are things that Ali said.
Well, to be fair, she went to Origins one year because she used to live in Columbus. So I would go stay with her, and I dragged her one time, and she had so much fun. And I remember there was a moment I was playing in a Hero Realms tournament, and she was like, "Do I have to sit here and watch this?" I was like, "No, you don't have to." Disappears. She comes back. I'm like, "What did you do?" She goes, "I tried this game and this game, and I bought this game and this game." And I was like, I didn't. She was like, she was just all in. So I think because of that, she then learned how much of a priority it is for me, how much I love going to this and seeing everybody and participating and trying, that she knew she's getting married, congratulations. And she texted me and she's like, "I checked, Origins isn't that weekend, you can come to the wedding." I was like, all right, I don't have an excuse to get out of it now.
So when we think Iranians are kind of crazy about Origins, we're not kidding, right? Yeah. And we all take time to get together, and it just makes it a huge family. And I just want people to know that. We're going to be wrapping up. So anybody have any last thoughts? Chad, you get to experience it from such a different angle. Anything you want to share or add? I'm putting you on the spot now.
No, I just keep going back to the general vibe. It's relaxing, it's fun. And, in those moments where I get a break from demoing games and the booth, I get to be an attendee and walk around. And it isn't just go, okay, I'm just going to go sit down and eat my lunch. It's like, I want to go experience it too, because there's so much there. And, we talked about the family thing. I'm working on my wife. We're going to get Chris there. I'm going to get
we were working on this. Oh, I got this. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Well, yeah, I should have told you at first, because you'll do better than I will. So yeah, but that's the thing. It's fun on both ends. When that moment when the exhibit hall closes and I can go and experience and play the games and check out all the other stuff, it's fun there, and it's fun, and it's fun to work the show. It's enjoyable to see the people and see the excitement for, people like Josh and Susan and Preston and Ellen that have come for the first time. And there's, when the families come in and you can show a game to an entire family and get them excited about it. That's great stuff. It really is.
Preston, Ellen, how many times have you gone now?
3 times, 3 years. Yeah.
At least 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. And the nightlife at Origins is really good. One of the things, if you guys are attending or wanting to attend, it is definitely, I always heard other places like it, you game all night. The thing I love about Origins is you can game all night. You can find a place, you can find a group. There is always people. I do struggle in the bigger conventions to be able to find people. I don't have that problem at Origins. I never have. That's why I say it always feels like home. So I know everybody here agrees with that too. We've all talked about it time and time again. And I think we single-handedly have converted so many Fort Wayne people to going because we just have loved it so much and enjoy it. And it was even before I was on the board. They don't pay me to say this. We really love it. So we hope other people will come and join us. And thank you to all the Fort Waynians for coming and making tonight a little bit special and getting people excited. It's really nice to think about being back and doing this again, right? Like we've had a long ride and it's been tough, but thank you to everybody who's been patient. Origins is coming back and we're super excited about it. So thank you guys. Have a great night. And thank you, Fort Waynians. All right. See you next time.
Bye.